Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me here. Last week when I met, I had the opportunity to learn about Peak Software and understand more about your company and your goals and aspirations for Peak Software. So today I'm here to show you what ADP can do to help Peak Software achieve those goals. Okay? Being in business is a lot like being in a race. You and your competitors are out there every day trying to get the most clients as soon as you can. I'm here to show you what ADP can do to help you win that race. It's a hectic place to be out there. If Peak Software was a high-performance car, your competitors would be also. And you're all on the track, you're all blasting in the same direction, and it gets tricky. Your competitors can sideswipe you, they can cut you off. You can even get a couple of dents in your fender. And that's on a good day. Today, business is a little bit more like this. These are historically challenging times to be in business. Companies you never thought would go under are imploding. Fannie Mae, Bear Stearns, AIG, just to name a few. As leaders of Peak Software, you have to navigate your company around the obstacles, through the clouds of smoke and over the debris. As ADP, we're world leaders in HR and payroll technology. We see HR kind of like Dr. McCoy is to Captain Kirk, okay? If, as leaders, you have to navigate the company around those obstacles and take it, you're the visionaries, you plot out the course. And HR's role in this scenario is to be the advisor to that leader. They're advisors because they manage the most valuable asset for a company. It's people, okay? Every time that Kirk wants to get something done or leadership wants to get something done, they go to HR to check the morale of the staff. Do we have the skills that we need to accomplish this objective? Do we need to bring anybody on board? That's what HR is supposed to be for. So that's the context I'll be speaking in today. But before I move forward, I'd like to review the priorities that you set forth to me last week. Your number one priority was growth. You're opening new locations in 2 cities across Canada this year, Vancouver and Calgary. Also, you need to keep your positive environment so that your top talent stays with the company and keeps your momentum. You've also identified the need for a central HR system so that your admin costs are contained. Has anything changed in the last week since we've spoken? Any new priorities? And we're good? We're good. Okay. So I'll be addressing each of these priorities across 3 sections of my presentation. First, I'll be talking about recruitment. Secondly, ESS. I'll explain what that stands for and why that guy's so happy about it during the section. Talent management is the 3rd section, and I've allowed for some Q&A at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, recruitment. Recruitment is a critical function in any company, especially if you're in growth. And it's a daunting task. There's a lot of people out there. How do you go out there and get the gems and pull them into Peak Software? I mean, if you could just look over the crowd and know what they do, it would be easy, but that's not possible. Or is it? I'll answer that question in just a few moments. That's me. That was me. Does that look like me? Sorry. It kind of looks like me. Maybe a little heavier, but I like the high five. How important are people? Think about Peak Software. Think about your star salesperson. Think about your talented leader, your gifted financial person. These are key players on the Peak Software team. Coach Desmarais compares his star player to his own son. Isn't that the case with those key players in Peak Software? It's almost like you can't live without them. They're almost family to the company. So why is it so hard to find that needle in the haystack? I mentioned it was a daunting task. I'd like to explain why. So your HR person today, when a posting does come up, they have access to all these job boards. They then have to log into each individual job board, place the posting, log into another one, and another one, another one. And then they have to collect all of the applicants from each job board individually, usually in the form of an email with a resume attached. What happens then, you get into a scenario like a client of mine did, Angela. She had one position. She posted on 2 job boards, which was Workopolis and Monster, if I remember correctly. She received 210 applicants. That's 210 emails with 210 resumes attached. You know what she told me? She said, Rico, I read the first 20 and I just hired from there. I didn't have time to read all of them. That's not efficient. That's not the way to go, and that's a logistical problem. And it's a common problem. Studies show that 20% of a company's employees are well suited to their position. That is a recruitment issue. So how do we find the needle with ADP? ADP's HR system is called HRB. Once you insert HRB into the equation, the landscape gets much simpler. All HR has to do is create the posting in HRB. HRB will then push the posting out to any job boards that are relevant, and then collect all the applicants and catalog them into a searchable database. So as a software company, I'm sure you're going to have specific criteria that you need to fill different positions. You know, for the purpose of this example, let's say you need a Java developer. You get 210 applicants, just to use the numbers we just used. HRB can provide you a screened list of applicants, all of them that know Java developing. You don't have to just read the first 20 and hope you got someone good. It has searched all 210 applicants.
How does it do that?
It does it because it catalogs the RTF so you have to ask for resumes to be submitted as an RTF file, rich text format, which is an editable file. And it takes all of that raw data and it categorizes it by field. So it recognizes professional experience, you know, and it does look for keywords. This is a screenshot of the software. That's the searchable list that I mentioned. Those are the positions, right? It's fairly easy to read. Everything we build is designed to be user-friendly and easy to understand. That's the search function. Another thing about recruitment that happens is when you hire someone in HR, that person is going to start 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month after the hire date, and that payroll has to be notified, they have to be reminded, and they have to re-enter that person into payroll. With HRB, that's not an issue. Once you hire the candidate in HRB, it easily uploads into payroll. No duplication of effort whatsoever. That's a fan favorite right there because it's just one less thing people have to worry about. When it comes to Peak Software's goals, when it comes to growth, HRB recruitment is integral because it will allow HR to screen the applicants and accumulate a talent pool for use in the future. Your positive work environment's affected. HRB recruitment will allow you to create a workforce of the very best people out there today. That's extremely positive. Everybody wants to be on the winning team. And as a central HR system, HRB will allow your recruiter to react effectively to any openings that happen across the country. You guys are going national now. This is perfect because it can all be done from Toronto. Any questions on recruitment before I bump to the next section? You guys are good? Okay. ESS stands for...
Sorry, one question.
Oh, sure.
When you're recruiting, I mean, do those employers, the applicants, how long do they stay in the application for? Do they kind of get dumped out? Do I have to reapply to jobs?
No, that's up to you. We help you set the policies through the implementation process, so that's just something that you have to call, and you can change it later on. We show you how to set the policies. They can be there definitely. You can archive them, back them up, keep them live.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool?
Yep.
ESS stands for Employee Self-Service. Think of it as an HR Swiss Army knife we're giving each of your staff members. Small but useful tools. Why is that important? Let me explain. In your typical HR environment today, HR is tasked with several admin duties. Things like, hey, change my address, I just moved, or I got married, can you add my spouse to the plan, or buddy, you spelt my last name wrong, it's an S instead of a Z. I'm always on that one. Those abilities funnel down to HR. And HR John, for the purposes of the exercise, he's a good guy, so he's happy to do them because he still has a lot of time to work on the high-impact activities that he went to school for, things that he's passionate about that help the company. The problem is that as the company grows, and Peak Software will grow, these tasks will multiply exponentially. And before you know it, that's all HR is doing, is admin tasks. That means they no longer have time or the information to be that advisor to leadership. Studies have shown, once again, so I like to back it up with numbers, that companies in this situation, 75% of their HR workload is admin tasks, And conversely, if they provide a self-service option, they lower the TCO of their HR department by 50%. That means that they can become advisor with half the people that a normal company would need. How does ADP make this happen? ADP is going to remove the funnel. We can do that because we can leverage your staff. The time it takes your staff to fill out a request for John to change their address or their name or whatever, they can log in and do it themselves. This gives HR the time back that it needs, turns their frown upside down. It's my favorite part. He's supporting senior leadership again. He's working on high-impact activities, activities like training, performance benchmarking, performance reviews. All of these activities generate an exceptional amount of business intelligence. So they're an advisor again. They can help leadership tell them what's going on with their staff. At ADP, we divide these tasks into two categories: tactical activities and strategic initiatives. HR should spend the vast majority of their time working on strategic initiatives. This is the stuff that bears more fruit down the line. If your employees can use Facebook or Gmail, they can use ESS. As you can see, it's very simple to use. We also upload all of the official forms from your insurance and benefit provider into the system so that your employees have access to it. One less thing they have to chase HR around for. When it comes to Peak Software's goals and priorities, ESS will give HR the time back that they need to create training programs. Your positive work environment is affected because your new staff has a much better onboarding experience and they'll become productive sooner. And I should also note that as an HR system, as a central HR system, we host HRB in our data center. So things like upgrades, archiving, backing up the data, applying tax changes, that ceases to become a concern for Peak Software. You guys can now focus on being Peak Software. We got the HR part covered. That's ESS. I'm almost going into the third section. Any last questions popping up? No? All right. Last but not least, talent management. He's not screaming at them, by the way. I think he's motivating them. That's how I interpret that one. What is talent management? It's knowing what your players can do. If you have someone on staff that can hit from both sides of the plate and breathe underwater, that's a cool skill. That's good to know, right? If Peak Software needs to open up an office in the Atlantic, you know who to send. Cool? If you have a strong talent management strategy, your HR system now has an overview of the entire workforce and what they can do. It's all cataloged. So that when leadership has a strategic objective they need to accomplish, HR can pick out the very best task force to get this done. The very best, because again, they know what they can do. It's all in the system. When leadership rolls out a game plan, they can put the players in key positions so that they can execute. Long story short, if you have the right talent management strategy, you have a better game plan, period. I've saved the best numbers for last. Companies that have a talent management strategy or the right talent management strategy experience 26% higher revenue per employee, 26%. And also become 92% better at negotiating changing economic conditions. Remember the car crash photo in the beginning? That's economic conditions. That's what you have to react to. 92% better at that. None of these studies, by the way, if you've noticed, are ADP speaking. We had the Human Capital Institute on the first one, PricewaterhouseCoopers in a study that was just executed in November and December of last year, and this one is by Burson Associates. All of these studies can be made available to you if you need to further investigate. We also have different levels of access for talent management: admin, manager, and employee. So that your managers can run their team in their own fashion. They can be a little bit of a mad scientist / coach there if they need to. I'm also aware that you're going to have different skills and criteria unique to Peak Software, coding programs or languages that you need to catalog. You can create your own talent fields and catalog them accordingly. When it comes to Peak Software's goals, HRB Talent will allow you to, HRB Talent Management will allow you to identify the gaps that will arise in a growing company. Your work environment will stay positive because the staff knows that you've cataloged all of these skills. You know what it takes to be at every level of the company. People need to aspire. They need to look for growth in that company. HRB Talent gives them the roadmap to do that. As a central HR system, HRB Talent is a key player in giving HR that unparalleled business intelligence so they can be advisors to the leaders of the future. In closing, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. The key to win, the key is not the will to win. Everybody has that. It is the will to prepare to win that is important. That's why I'm here today, to help Peak Software be prepared, to give you guys the system you need so that when your people are out there, you're ready to handle any HR or staff situation that you need. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have and discuss next steps.